All right, it is episode 19 of the Pack Boys podcast. We're going to get into the NFL trade deadline to start. Then we're going to take it personal, talking Cowboys and Steelers. We're going to hit a little mid-season awards, the draft of chips, which should be interesting. We're going to talk about the Paul Silva fight that happened on Saturday.
Oh, yes.
We're going to do a mixed bag of shake and take, and then a new segment where we're going to break down some NFL draft prospects for you guys. Douglas, you ready to go?
Yeah, let's do it, man.
Let's hit it. All right, we're going to take it back all the way to October 27th. Don't think we talked about this one on the podcast. The Giants trade wide receiver Kadarius Toney, who was a first round pick in the 2021 draft, to the Chiefs for a conditional 2023 third and a 2023 sixth. Douglas, is this a big deal for the Chiefs? Is the only question I'm going to ask you.
Yes.
Do you think he will have an instant impact on this offense?
I don't know about instant because they're going to give him time to heal and come back at his own pace. But once he starts taking snaps there, he immediately, aside from Travis Kelce, in my opinion, becomes the number one target. Okay. Immediately. He is that good. I cannot believe the Giants only got back a third and a sixth. They must have just wanted the guy gone at that point. I mean, you drafted him last year. He's still under contract for 3 more years. Plus, you got the 1 year, what is it? The first round picks get an extra year, I think, right? So it'd be four more years. He's under contract. Monstrous steal for the Chiefs. This is a very big deal.
He must have been causing a stir.
Had to have been.
He must have wanted out because a third and a sixth for a first round. It's a little ridiculous. Bears trade Roquan Smith, which was a stinger to me because I thought the Dallas Cowboys had an outside shot at him. They need a run stopper. It would have been a perfect fit in Dallas. They traded him to the Ravens for linebacker A.J. Klein, a 2023 second round and a 2023 fifth round. Douglas, doesn't really seem like what the Ravens need, though. I get it. I think Pat Queen is playing fine enough at middle linebacker that you could probably hide another subpar linebacker. They need a pass rush.
Yep.
And that Roquan's, unless they're planning on just going crazy with blitzing, I don't really see the benefit of it. But definitely a big trade because the Bears are going full tank mode now.
Yep.
And the Ravens are going all in.
So my biggest thing with this trade is they're going to run into issues at the end of this season. This is either going to be a rental.
It's a rental. It has to be because you're going to pay.
You don't have the money. You have to. You don't have the money to do both. Roquan wants to reset the market at 20 to 25 million per year. You don't have the money to do that.
No.
If that's the case and you can't re-sign him, this is a terrible trade for Baltimore. I'm not mad at it. Go ahead. Don't get your quarterback any help and go grab a linebacker when you already have a very competent middle linebacker.
Yeah.
Do your thing. But not a good idea.
And then maybe I've heard this one be called the worst trade of, I don't think it is, but people have been calling this the worst trade. The Lions trade TJ Hawkinson and 2 fourth-round picks and a conditional pick. Wow. They gave Hawkinson and 3 picks to the Vikings in exchange for a 2023 second and a 2024 third. That seems like a lot to give up for one player. Actually, a lot to give up with a player. Douglas, this seems like a great move for the Vikings. Irv Smith had a high ankle sprain. Hawkinson, I don't know if he'll be able to fit right in because in the NFL, it's so hard running offenses that fast. But dude's a playmaker.
So I'm not exactly sure what his contract looks like. That's something I would have to look at.
I believe he's in his 5th-year option.
Okay, so
he was gonna hit the market. They were moving him to get some value out of him, but it seems like they gave up a ton of value.
They did. I agree. I think the Vikings slightly won the trade.
Yeah,
I don't hate it for Detroit. I just think they could have got away without giving up that many draft picks. Say they give 1 and then like a compensatory, so a 4th and just 1 like compensatory and Hawkinson. I don't hate it then. It's fine. You can't give up 3 picks there plus the guy.
This is my personal worst trade of the day. The Steelers trade wide receiver Chase Claypool to the Bears for a second round pick. I don't know who's watching Chase Claypool and think he's worth a second round pick. I think he's solid. I don't think he's worth a second round pick at this point in his career. Is it his third year in the NFL?
Yes, he's under contract next year as well, and then he's a free agent.
I guess you get the year of control, but nevertheless, I don't think this guy's worth a second round pick. This seems like a desperation move to try to get Fields some illusion of help.
Yeah, I love the trade for the Steelers. The pick that they got back, which is the Bears' second, it will be a better pick than when they took Claypool.
Yeah.
That's I mean, you couldn't have asked for it to be better. If you'd have told me 2 days ago, what do you think Claypool's worth? I would have said a fourth. A fourth rounder, I'm fine and dandy with that. To get a second, not only a second, not the Ravens' second that they just got, but their own.
If I was
great pick, great value.
If I was the Steelers, and what his name's Khan, right? They're
yeah, I don't know how much of the decision making he's making though. They brought in Andy Weidel, and I think behind the scenes he's doing a lot of the talking. I think Khan is I think Weidel is like the let's negotiate trades. I want this guy as far as drafting goes type of guy. I think Khan is like the numbers guy, like trying to work out good contracts and stuff.
Okay. Well, whoever's talking, I would not have let Ryan Pace off the phone. I would not have I would say, do not hang up. We got more to do. I got a long snapper for a first round pick.
We got Devin Bush.
Bush
is gone after this year.
Devin, dude, he might have given up his entire team for Devin Bush.
Bush is gone after this year. We're not going to keep him.
He might have given you Justin Fields for Devin Bush. Who knows? That guy's crazy.
My God.
Another Steelers one, the Commanders, William Jackson III is going to the Steelers. Douglas, you talked about on the recap that the Steelers loved him coming out of the draft. Tomlin loved him. Is he an instant starter in Pittsburgh? Does he start coming out of the bye week?
Absolutely. He's going. That's why I'm so glad they did it when they did it. He's going to have an extra week to learn everything. Mm-hmm. He will be an instant starter. He may be the instant number one, to be honest.
Wow.
Because Ahkello Witherspoon's technically the number one. He got benched last week at halftime. He got benched because A.J. Brown, I get it's A.J. Brown, but he made him look bad, real bad. Not a number one good look there. So I think he's the number one. I like it. Got to fix the cap, though. Got to find a way to keep him.
This trade, Douglas, the Broncos trade edge rusher Bradley Chubb and a 5th round pick to the Dolphins in exchange for a 2023 first, a 2024 4th, and running back Chase Edmonds. I believe just a couple episodes ago, you said you wouldn't trade for Bradley. You wouldn't trade a first for Bradley Chubb.
I would not.
What are your thoughts on what the Dolphins did then?
It made sense for them.
Okay.
No, it would depend on the team doing it. Well, I didn't think like Kansas City. I was
talking about Philadelphia. If you were Philadelphia, you wouldn't put a first in for Chubb.
No, they already got a hell of a pass rush, man.
With not talking about Quinn.
Okay,
Quinn
I didn't know that. Okay,
well, that's what we were talking about. We were talking about Quinn, Chubb, or Burns.
Oh, I said Burns though.
Yeah, but you said you still would. In that discussion, you said if you were the Eagles, you wouldn't have given up a first for Bradley.
I understand. I got what you're saying. No, I don't hate it. I guess for Miami, their pass rush was bad. That was the worst part of their team. So far through the season.
That's what I'm saying.
So if you can put him next to Jalen Phillips and get something done, that could change the whole outcome of this year for Miami.
And you still got Wilkins on the inside. You got to double one of those guys.
Yeah, absolutely you do.
Good luck.
Great trade.
Another Dolphins one. Jeff Wilson is coming to the Dolphins from the 49ers in exchange for a 5th round pick. I like it because it seems like they got 2 different backs now. They got Mostert, who's going to be your outside guy, hitting big plays. Wilson's going to be your more, if you want to talk, I mean, it's easier for me to bring this up, but Pollard, Zeke, Thunder, and Lightning. Wilson's going to be between the tackles, getting you tough yards, hammering those linebackers. You're going to go back to Mostert, who's going to hit big plays. I love this deal for the Dolphins.
I also love it for the Dolphins. If you think about it, in my opinion, I think Jeff Wilson's better than Chase Edmonds. Just head up the way I want a running back. I want Wilson over Edmonds. He's done very well this year. He also knows little weird geek very well.
Weird geek.
He knows him well. I mean, he was a coach under Shanahan there, so he's reuniting with him. I'm sure they'll get great usage out of him, and they gave up practically nothing to get him.
Don't talk about my boy Mike McDaniel like
He's
that.
a geek.
The Jaguars, in a very, I'd probably say the most unexpected trade of the day, acquire Calvin Ridley from the Falcons. It doesn't let's see, there's no official capital yet, but it could be worth as much as a fifth and a second, a fifth in 2023 and a second in 2024. Didn't see this one coming, but I
Did
like
not
it for
either.
the Jags.
I also
They give up a little draft capital, especially if that 2024 is a second round pick. That's probably not great for a team that's going to need a rebuild next couple years. But Ridley's a great young receiver. I think you put him in that offense with Christian Kirk. I think you can do some things. I think it's good for Lawrence, but we talked about this in the recap episode. Is Lawrence the guy?
Yeah.
So
This will answer a lot of questions about
yes,
Lawrence next year.
nah.
We have to give him till next year now because of this, which is plenty of time in the NFL. A lot of guys don't make it that long. He's a number one pick, and he's not living up to it right now. So we'll see if that changes.
And the last big trade of the day, there were a couple smaller ones that we're not going to get into, but the last big one, Bills, man. The Bills just get another weapon. The Bills get Nyheim Hines from the Colts in exchange for a conditional fifth round pick and running back Zach Moss, which I like Zach Moss. I think he's an okay back, but Nyheim Hines and what he can do, oh my goodness. He could throw him out at receiver. How are you going to stop him?
Yeah.
How are you going to stop this offense? You can go now. You can now go from having a tight end on the field, a tight end running back, which is called 11 personnel. You got a tight end running back. You could shift Nyheim Hines out to receiver out of 11 personnel. Now you got to deal with basically four Bills receivers because Hines can do that, and Dawson Knox, and you're in your base package trying to stop their 11 personnel. They're going to have mismatches all over the field. This is terrifying for the rest of the NFL.
Very good trade. They were inquiring about a couple of running backs. I noticed
They were
being one early in the week. Kareem Hunt,
McCaffrey before he went to 49ers was another one they were looking
so I didn't like the Kareem Hunt one. Love Kamara, love McCaffrey. Didn't care for the Kareem Hunt one. This trade makes so much more sense, and they probably gave up less for him than they would have had to for Kareem Hunt. Great trade for Buffalo.
That will do it for the trade deadline talk. Let's go ahead and get into Take It Personal. All right, getting into Take It Personal now. I guess I'll go first, Douglas.
Okay.
How would you like to see the Steelers go about replacing Claypool? Would you rather see a free agent or draft?
Draft. I like Steven Sims.
And my next question was, what sort of capital would you like to see spent on the position? First, second, third, fourth, late round?
Late
Round. You think they're okay at the receiver position then?
Fourth, I'd go fourth and see what the offseason brings you as far as free agents. I don't know who's going to be out there.
That's what I have a little list for you that you might be interested in.
Okay.
Free agent, the top five that I noticed were OBJ.
Okay.
Jacoby Myers.
Okay.
McCole Hardman.
Okay.
DJ Chark.
Okay.
Jarvis Landry.
McCole Hardman and Jacoby Myers are two that I would be interested in that I think you could get relatively cheap. Kansas City, I'm concerned, will overpay for Hardman solely because of his speed. But they also have Calvin Austin coming back next year as well that people do forget about. So I want to see what that guy has. If he turns out to just be nothing, just a injury upon injury upon injury, get rid of him, look for another speedster. Hardman is great. Myers is a very solid possession receiver. He's kind of if he had Deontay Johnson's route running and like quickness, we're talking about a top 7 or 8 receiver probably in football because his hands are great. He does not drop the ball. Deontay just couldn't catch a cold if he was in the middle of Antarctica with no clothes on. So I would probably lean towards draft a little bit just because they kind of have that resume of striking late in it. So
what would be your thoughts if they pulled a Cincinnati move and reunited Pickett with Addison? Say they were drafting 8th, and Addison's projected to go around pick 20 or somewhere, and let's just say they trade back to 16. and they get some more capital. They get a second rounder, and they get a future second or whatever, future first. Would you like it then?
No.
You don't want to see
I
it?
don't want to see a first round pick go to
Okay.
a receiver. There's too much. There's too many good offensive linemen. Paris Johnson from Ohio State at left tackle,
Mhm.
6'6", 340-pound monster. He's projected a top 10 pick. Northwestern has a left tackle that's a beast. I cannot remember his name. He's projected to be a top 15 pick.
Mhm.
So I think that you have to go O-line with the first pick if it's me. It's just that bad. You can't run the ball. You
Okay.
can't do anything. So that's what I would do.
All right. Go ahead with your first.
Yeah. So if there was one thing the Cowboys could have done at the trade deadline that would have guaranteed them being better, what would
Oh
it
yeah.
have been?
It would have been fixing the interior of their defense, which two names I already talked about. I wanted them to get Roquan Smith. I thought he would have been easily just a perfect linebacker. You put him, obviously it's not a long-term thing. You can't afford to pay him long-term with already paying Dak, but you throw him in there for the rest of the season at middle linebacker. I think he shores up your at least half the battle against inside runs.
Yep.
Him or DeForest Buckner was another name. I think the Colts are just about cooked, and they
Yep.
might have been looking to sell. Were two names that I would have loved for them to go get.
Okay.
All right, I'm actually going to ask you a pack, punt, or pass. The Steelers aren't known for giving up 35 points in a game.
Okay.
I know TJ Watt wasn't in there.
Yep.
I understand that. I want you to pack, punt, or pass the blame for Sunday's defensive performance. Front seven, pass coverage, Eagles offense being that good.
I will pack the secondary. I will punt the Eagles offense being that good. And I'll pass the front, but it's close. The front stinks too. One thing I wanted the Steelers to do at the trade deadline, I heard multiple reports. I listen to the local Pittsburgh sports radio every day when I'm driving for multiple hours a day. And I keep hearing things about Cam Hayward. And if someone were to give up a first or a second round pick and something else, would you do it? I love Cam. I love him so much. He is a great leader. He'd be gone. He would be gone.
Yeah.
He's a 33-year-old with a very high cap hit. And
when they signed him to that contract, I was like, Steelers fans didn't have as big as reaction as I thought they would. He was way too old to get that sort of contract.
I agree, dude. I agree.
And people were loving it. Like, oh, we got Cam and Watt now. We're going to be lighting it up. It'll be good for right now, but every year it's going to go this way. It's not going this way anymore.
That being said, I wouldn't have just traded him anywhere. I would have at least gave him the respect and said, like, is there a contender that you want to go to, and we will try and make it happen.
Yeah, for sure.
So that being said, but yeah, in that order, it would be the secondary, terrible, then the Eagles offense, and then the front seven.
Okay.
So my next question to you, Dallas's defense has been very, very good this year.
Yeah.
Where does it rank historically among all-time great defenses to you personally?
Oh, wow. We got to wait to see the end of the season. But in terms of what they can do with their front seven, I think it's probably as good as a defense. Oh, boy. Maybe in the past. Maybe the best defense since the Legion of Boom.
Okay.
Since that time. It's everything that they can do with their front and the different athletes that they can rotate and have up there. It just makes, I mean, I don't even think the back end of I think the back end of the defense is solid.
Yep.
I think Diggs is solid. I think the safeties are solid. I don't like Anthony Brown, but I think the front end covers up a lot of his mistakes. So I'd say that their pass rush is as good as any team we've seen in a long time.
Okay.
My last question for you, Doug, it's a pretty simple one. It's a two-parter, but it's a pretty simple one. End of the year record prediction for the Steelers.
6-11.
6-11. Wow. Not even giving them a chance.
6-11.
And then one bold prediction for the end of the season. One, it can be a player, it can be a coach being fired, it can be a team that they beat, a team that, something like that, or a team that I don't care. One thing that the Steelers fans are not expecting to happen that will happen. down the second half of the schedule?
Oh, that's a really good question. Okay. Kenny Pickett will prove to be a bust.
Wow. I think
Yeah.
you don't think you're harping on him too much after playing those teams, those
I
four tough teams?
I am. I know I am. But I got a weird bad feeling, dude. I do. And
Okay.
I want him to be good. I like the kid a lot. I love how he responds to things. I love his attitude when he's talking at the press conferences after the game. He's all blame me, blame me, blame me. It's my fault. I could do this better. I got a bad feeling though, dude. I got a really bad feeling.
Okay.
My last question to you, if Dallas could do one thing this offseason as
Uh-huh.
far as moving a guy off of the team.
Ezekiel Elliott.
Hold on.
Yeah, it's gonna be Ezekiel, but go ahead.
Hold no, because I knew you were going to say that. Besides Ezekiel Elliott, who are you moving?
Moving a guy off?
Yeah, you could trade him so you clear the cap, do whatever, but
They're not going to be able to. They can't trade him because he's going to be an undrafted or unrestricted free agent. But Leighton Vander Esch probably doesn't need to be on the roster next year.
okay.
I think he was fine this year. I don't think he's. I think they have two young linebackers in Des Moines Clark and Jabril Cox that are hopefully going to take over for him.
Okay.
Or they can bring in a free agent too. I wouldn't hate that. I think he's just someone on the team that is just not going to be necessary
Okay.
next year for their success. Let's get into our midseason awards. Let's start it off with Offensive Rookie of the Year. Douglas, through what are we at? Through 8 weeks, who is your Offensive Rookie of the Year?
Kenneth Walker.
I knew you were going to say that.
It's not close to me. I know he's only played 4 games as a starter, but man, he is special.
I will preface this segment with saying I took a couple that I knew who Douglas was going to take, and I just took a couple to be devil's advocate.
Fair.
So, my offensive rookie of the year so far in a system where he's having rotating quarterbacks and just probably an overall tough situation, having to be the guy this early. Give me Chris Olave.
Okay.
Guy's had to take on a number 1 role since he's got there. He's had 2 different quarterbacks he's had to play with. He leads the team in targets, catches, and yards. So give me Chris Olave. Defensive rookie of the year. Go ahead.
Defensive rookie of the year right now, I give the slight edge to Sauce Gardner, but it's close. It's really close. Tariq Woolen is a very close second.
That is my guy, Tariq Woolen. He has 4 interceptions already on the year. Tariq Woolen, an absolute freak athlete.
He is.
He is a 1%er of the 1%er in the NFL.
Yep.
6'4", 215 pounds, ran a 4.3. You do not want to throw deep on this guy.
No, nope.
He will go get it. So Tariq Woolen so far is my defense. I do agree it's close. It should be interesting down the stretch. Comeback player of the year, Douglas.
I'm gonna give it to Geno Smith right now. I know Barkley's the sexy pick here. Geno Smith, man, this guy is unbelievable what he's doing right now. They're first. If you'd have told me halfway point of the season, Seattle's in first place in the NFC West, I would have told you, I will bet you $1,000 you're wrong. There's just no way. Not a shot.
Yeah, no,
unreal.
I think it's between 3 people. I think it's between Geno, Mariota, and this guy. I'm taking Saquon Barkley so far.
Okay.
Make no bones about it. Daniel Jones has been playing better. He's been good enough to lead the team to wins. The defense has been playing probably a little bit above their means, but Barkley's been the key to the Giants' 6-2 start. Saquon Barkley has been a healthy Barkley changes the outlook of your team. I don't care what team he's playing on. So give me Barkley for comeback player of the year. It's so great. Even though he's in the division, it's great seeing him healthy and playing every week. Assistant coach of the year, Douglas.
Assistant coach.
Did you not have one?
I did not have one.
All right, I'll take it. Ken Dorsey, offensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills, had a lot of pressure on him. Probably the most pressure out of any offensive coordinator. Dayball had just left. He had to come in and get this offense going. Obviously, he has so many talented pieces to work with, but there was still a ton of pressure for him to get the machine going.
Yep.
Give me Ken Dorsey. Coach of the year, Douglas.
Right now, I'm going to give it to Kevin O'Connell. I
don't
think.
I don't hate that, but I knew you would take that, so I took a different one.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Kevin O'Connell here. What he's doing with Kirk Cousins as his quarterback, aside from one primetime game, is very impressive. This Vikings team last year was dead. The year before they were dead. They've been dead since Case Keenum with the Minneapolis Miracle.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give him a lot of credit and praise here. People thought when they got Kirk Cousins over Case Keenum, it's this huge monstrous upgrade. Realistically, looking at the talent, it is. But the record showed otherwise. The win-loss column showed otherwise. So Kevin O'Connell is figuring this out and getting that offense going. So right now, I have to give it to him.
My coach of the year so far, as much as I hate to say it, Nick Sirianni of the Eagles. I do think a large portion of his success should be dedicated to Howie Roseman and the job he's done as a GM.
Yep.
But you got to give Sirianni credit; they're undefeated to this point. It's NFL's the league of ultimate parity. Teams are so competitive; it's so tight. For him to be 7-0 at this point, very impressive. Defensive player of the year, Douglas. I think we'll have the same one for this.
It's Micah Parsons for me right now.
Micah
I don't
Parsons
think
as
it's
well.
that close.
He's a freak. I love it.
He is a freak.
Offensive player of the year.
So I bounce back and forth with this one.
I think can I guess who you're going to take?
Sure.
Hold on. Justin Jefferson.
Wrong.
Oh, I know you love him. So
I do love him. That was my preseason prediction. And right now, if this guy beats Calvin Johnson's record, it has to be Tyreek Hill.
I knew it was going to be a receiver. I
gotta be Tyreek Hill. I'm not picking a quarterback. That's just hey, you were runner up to MVP.
I was looking at the two at the receiving leaders, and I saw those two names, and I said, yep, one of those two.
Yeah, I will take Tyreek Hill here. He's on pace to break Calvin Johnson's record, probably relatively significantly as well. Just came off a 188-yard week last week, so I'm gonna go there right now with that pick.
I'm taking a guy who's probably made the biggest leap in the NFL. Not a comeback, but just a leap. Give me Jalen Hurts. This guy, obviously he has the weapons, but he's making the throws. And I think most people who watch this who are Steelers fans will know that or just saw that. That dude can make throws. And he's such a problem on third and short. Like he killed the Cowboys on third and short. You put him in a zone read or a quarterback sneak situation, he's such a tough runner. It is tough to get out of third and short against them. So
their RPO scheme is so unstoppable.
It's ridiculous. They have all the perfect weapons for it.
They do.
All right. I think this was another one we'll be consensus on. Most valuable player. Douglas, go ahead.
I have Josh Allen. I don't have it even being remotely close right now. I think he's blowing him out the water.
He's almost like, you remember the old NCAA football video games when you made a Road to Glory quarterback that was 6'6" and as fast as anybody?
And could go over him or around him. Yeah. Or throw it 100 yards.
That's what it's like watching Josh Allen play football.
Yeah. He's unbelievable, dude.
He plays football, and I've said this before, like he's like people play Mario Smash Brothers.
Yep.
You just press all the buttons at once. That's what he looks like. He's playing football. He's just spinning, turning, throwing, running at weird angles. He's just awesome to watch. The Bills are just much-watch TV at this point.
They are.
To see what he does. All right, we will be right back with the draft of chips. All right, we are back with the draft of chips. Should be interesting. You big chip guy, Douglas?
I can get down with some chips.
Chips are I don't seek out chips, but if chips find me, they're in trouble.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
I believe I went first in the last draft we did, so you will go first. What is your first overall pick in the draft of chips?
So this is a basic pick, but I have a nice little elaboration as to why. I'm taking a tortilla chip.
You got to get more specific than that.
No, just any type of tortilla.
No, you need
chip.
a brand. You need a brand. You
Tostitos.
Okay, fine.
Tostitos tortilla chip.
I would say wrong.
I mean, fair. I don't know any other brands.
I would take on the border has better chips.
Fair. Tortilla chips all I need because you got buffalo chicken dip, you got all these types of things.
Yeah,
nachos,
it's a
salsa,
dip chip for sure.
Exactly. So you need it for that.
But also, could you say that? But a potato chip has more value because it doesn't need those things.
No.
Okay, I'm just asking.
No, I
Um,
think that it needing those things makes it have more
yeah.
value. So I'll be going Tostito tortilla chip.
My first pick is something that just everybody I think needs. I think it helps you out if you have this. I'm going with the chip on your shoulder.
Okay,
You got to have a little chip on your shoulder.
we go.
It gives you some edge. You know, people like people with edge and people that have chips on their shoulder. Famous person with chips on their shoulder, Aaron Donald, out of the draft, got disrespected because of his height. Look where he's at now. Got to have a little chip on your shoulder, Douglas. So give me the chip on your shoulder.
Uh, that was I did not expect that.
Okay.
I'll be taking a ruffle sour cream and cheddar at number 2 here.
Ruffles.
Yeah,
Ew.
dude, so good.
Ruffles are gross.
No, that is
I
the best chip. That
I'm
one
listen,
specifically,
I'm a
the
fat
best.
guy. I don't turn down too much food. And I don't hate food because of texture. I'm a big flavor guy. I don't if it tastes weird in my mouth, that's fine. As long as it tastes good. I don't care about how my mouth feels. Hate Ruffles. Can't do them.
Oh,
But
they're so
when it
good.
hits my tongue and the waves, not me. Um, my next chip is something that a lot of these NFL teams are looking for. They're looking for a blue chip prospect. So
Okay.
give me a blue chip prospect as my second overall pick.
Okay. With my third pick here, I will be taking jalapeno chips. Little
Yeah.
spice, little fire in there, little
Kettle
heat to
cooked
the
or potato or just
kettle
okay.
have to be kettle
Just
cooked.
making sure. Just making
Have
sure.
to be kettle cooked. Little heat to the throat is always nice.
Sure.
So I will be taking that.
Let's see here.
Yeah, here we go.
At this.
Yeah, here we go. Can't wait
Uh,
to hear this. I see. That's a shit eating grin.
okay. With my third overall pick, this isn't even funny. I'm literally taking Chip. I'm taking the Children's Health Insurance Program. It's a very important thing. It's probably the
Okay.
most important chip on the list.
Jesus.
Literally the most important chip. Children's Health Insurance Program, very vital. Getting those kids some coverage there. So give me Chip, the Children's Health Insurance Program.
Yeah, at 4, we'll take a Dorito, cheddar, the cheesy nacho cheese ones or whatever
Okay.
they are. Um, nice simple texture. This is gonna be weird if you've never had one on a peanut butter and jelly. Fire. I don't know why. I don't know why it's good. I don't. I could not tell you
You're
why it
weird.
is good. Dude, it's so good.
No,
Try it. Think about it.
it's all
Try
right.
it.
I'll be all right. My next one is going to be Chip Gaines from Fixer Upper on the HGTV network.
Okay.
Chip Gaines, him and his wife, just fixing up some houses. Probably one of the most famous chips in the world. Chip Gaines with my fourth pick.
Yeah, with my 5th pick here, I'm going to be leaning a different direction like Trey. I'm going to take Chip Skylark from
There you
Fairly
go.
Odd Parents. So
There we go.
him and his shiny teeth and me.
Me, yeah.
So yeah, we'll take Chip Skylark.
A lot of different ways I can go here. I think I'm gonna take Chipotle though. I'm gonna take Chipotle. The restaurant, everyone loves Chipotle. Bowl, burrito,
That was
tacos,
your best
whatever.
pick there.
Chipotle
I'm there
is
once a week, easy.
as my fifth pick. So my five go the chip on your shoulder, a blue chip prospect, Chip, the Children's Health Insurance Program, Chip Gaines, and Chipotle.
Yeah, I go tortilla chips, ruffle sour cream and cheddar, jalapeno kettle cooked chips, Doritos, the nacho ones, and Chip Skylark.
Interested to hear your if you had any extras that didn't make the cut.
Cheetos and Cool Ranch Doritos.
That was it.
Yep.
Flaming hot Cheetos? Just
No,
regular.
regular.
The
I like
regular.
the jalapeno.
But you don't like flaming hot?
Nah, a little too spicy for me.
My leftovers, poker chips. Everyone loves poker chips. You gotta have chips to play with. Chip from Beauty and the Beast. He's a little teacup with a little chip in the side of the teacup. That
Okay.
Chip. Chip Kelly, coach of the
All
UCLA
right.
Bruins. Chip from Chip and Dale. Has been on some adventures. Chips Ahoy.
Okay.
And all three, this is a 3-for-1 deal. Alvin, Simon, and Theodore.
Chipmunks.
Yeah.
Okay.
So That was the draft of chips.
What the fuck are
I
we
didn't even have the
doing?
original intention of doing that, but I
Jesus.
wrote down in my head the chip on your shoulder, and I just kept going like
Oh,
chip.
Jesus.
So yeah. All right, let's get into some boxing talk. Douglas, I'm gonna let you lead this segment.
You want me to lead it?
This is your guy. This is your guy. This is
So
go ahead.
on
Set us up.
Saturday, Jake Paul versus Anderson Silva. Jake Paul won via unanimous decision after 8 rounds.
Yeah.
Going to the judges' scorecards. Trey, your thoughts on this?
I know we're gonna differ here. This was the best boxing skill wise Jake Paul has looked. He didn't get the knockout, which he promised, but this is the best he looked. His movement looked much improved from his earlier fights. He slipped a lot more punches than he would. Let me check here. I believe, let's see, I think Anderson Anderson only connected on 38% of his power punches. So that's pretty good for fighting a guy that's probably was expected to hit him a whole lot more than he did.
Yeah.
And most importantly, my big takeaway, he made Anderson Silva look 47. In stretches of this fight, he made him look 47. He kept up a high pace for most of the fight that probably Anderson just couldn't deal with in the end. Silva, on the other hand, I wrote down that he almost seemed bipolar in this fight.
Yeah.
1 minute he was, doing his little slipping punches, taunting, throwing haymakers. He looked like a beast for like 30-second stretches. And then the next minute he looked like he didn't want to be there.
Yeah.
It was almost weird. He might have just been conserving energy, but it was weird. He earned a little bit of respect. I still want to see him in there against the killer. I want to see him in there against a killer, a dude who 24/7 eats, sleeps, dies boxing.
Yep.
Not a 47-year-old guy who's picked it up for a year now. I don't want to see that. I want to see him in there against a young guy, like a world-class guy. I have a name written down, but I'll let you get your takes in. I'm interested to hear your takes about it. This is your guy. I want to hear your thoughts on him.
Good win. His jab was not as effective as it usually is. Jake's best round was probably the 3rd round, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Aside from getting that knockdown in the 7th or 8th round.
Yeah. 8th.
I was not really too impressed with Jake, to be honest. I like him. I'm glad he won. I root for him all the time. You and I have had numerous hours long of unrecorded debates about Paul. And I mean, it's time to nut up, guy. You're 6-0 as far as professional boxing goes. Can we see something? Because I'm gonna hop off the train here soon if it's Nate Diaz. I'm telling you that right now. He'll spark Diaz. He will put Diaz out like a light. And so that doesn't do nothing for me.
But this is what it comes down to. We've had these debates with other people too. Does he want respect or does he want money? Because that's what this is going to come down to. He can keep fighting all the 40-year-old UFC bums that are way past their prime. He can keep fighting them and making money out the wazoo. People are going to want to see what Nate Diaz does because Nate Diaz is a star. But guess what? Ain't no one giving you respect for beating up a 40-year-old Nate Diaz. Not one person. So either you go fight a killer or you stay with these old dudes and make money. Up to him.
I met a couple kids. There were boxing matches at our local casino this weekend. I went to them and I met a couple of kids in front of me. We were talking about Jake Paul and Silva, and they all said to me, if Paul wins, that this is rigged because Silva should beat him. And I was like, I don't know about that, dude. He's 47 years old.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
Although
I will say, I did text you, the 7th round seemed weird. Because
Silva I wanted you to elaborate about that.
He put in no effort in that 7th round.
Paul or Silva?
Silva.
Yeah.
Just said, it was almost like he said, if someone wanted to make the argument that the fight was rigged, I don't personally think it was. If someone wanted to make that argument, they will look at the 7th round and say, okay, Silva might have been thinking the fight's like 3-2 in rounds or 4-2 in rounds. I don't really want to win this because I'm trying to throw it, and just did nothing for 3 minutes.
Yeah, so My biggest
He hold on, sorry.
thing
He landed he threw 12 jabs
landed
in that
one.
round and landed one jab
Yep.
in 3 minutes. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I get it definitely. My biggest thing about the fight is when I was watching it, I was with a friend up there, and I said through the 5th round, I thought Silva won the first 4 out of 5.
I don't know about that. He won.
I
He
did.
won. He won. I think the third or the second, one of those two. But that might have
It
been
would
one
have
of
been
the
the second.
yeah
Second.
second. So that's like the
Um,
only.
I was not impressed with Jake. I like Jake. I hope he fights a boxer and beats them so I can see. But the WBA like owner tweeted, if you don't think Jake Paul's a real boxer, you have no idea what you're talking about. Like the
I
owner of the WBA or the WBO or whoever this guy is. I've never heard of
yeah.
him. But he said like Jake Paul is a real boxer, and if you're failing to see that, you don't understand boxing.
I wouldn't. I'm not going to say he's not a real boxer. He's just not going to get my respect as a boxer until he plays or until he fights a good boxer.
Yeah.
This is like if Ohio State, if they played all MAC teams, like
Yeah.
your record's great, you look good, you're dominating, but you're not playing anybody.
Yep.
You
I
need.
understand.
I understand that they have, but these are teams way past their prime. It's just like, give me something here. Give me a little bit more. I have a name, Douglas.
Who is that?
I'm gonna probably butcher his last name. Lawrence the Sauce Okuli.
Okay.
He is the WBO cruiserweight champion.
Okay.
I believe he's 18-0 with 18 knockouts. I believe is his record.
Okay.
4th of July, he's British. 4th of July could play for this fight. I know it's a long ways away. Go ahead, fight Diaz. Go ahead and fight Diaz like in March or February. Go ahead and fight him. I don't care. This is the matchup to be made. I understand he fights for an organization. Negotiating can be tough.
Yep.
But if you want respect, this is the level of name he has to fight.
I agree. He'll have to fight a champion eventually. You can't just keep beating up old 50-year-old guys.
And here's another take that I've heard so many people make is that he only wants the money fight. He wants the big fight. He wants the big draw. Yada yada yada. He could fight a squirrel, Douglas. Nobody cares. He is the draw.
Yeah.
Same as Conor, same as Khabib, same as all these big time fighters, same as Mayweather. Did anybody ever care who Floyd Mayweather was fighting?
Nope.
Nope. They bought the Mayweather pay-per-view. Did anyone care who Tyson was fighting?
Nope.
Nope. It was the Tyson pay-per-view. The star sells the show. He could fight anybody.
Yep.
He sells the show. He would make the money. I don't care who it is. And honestly, from a lot of the people who are hardcore fight fans, he might make more money fighting a real guy. The more people who are like thinking they're snobby and saying, I'm not going to watch this fight because, this isn't real boxing. If he fought a real boxer, they would have to watch that fight.
Yeah.
Well, I think he would. I don't think he would do as badly. It almost seems like a cop out for his fans, by the way, to say like it's not a money fight to fight those guys.
No, I mean it's definitely a reason why, because he says it's not about the money anyways, but clearly it is.
It is. It clearly is.
I want to see Jake fight Tommy Fury first. That's a boxer that is undefeated. I think he beats Tommy, and then I want to see him step like way up, like levitate up.
Sure.
Because I mean he's training every day with the best training crew that money can buy.
But
I want to see it.
He said this. He said there's progression to it. You beat Nate Robinson. Okay, fine. You were younger, stronger, bigger than him. Fine. It was kind of, I'd say it's expected. And then he beats what? Who was after that? Askren?
Yep.
I would say that was sort of expected.
Yep.
Then he beats Woodley in a decision, which was kind of, you could argue it went either way, but I would say Paul won slightly. And then he knocks out Woodley. So now you're taking a jump.
Yep.
Now you go fight a real striker in Silva, even though he's 47 years old. It takes a jump. If he fights a real boxer and beats a professional boxer,
that's a way bigger jump.
It's a way bigger jump. If he beats that guy, you're talking about this is the boxer who's in his prime.
Yep.
Who's moving the needle this much. These boxing organizations are going to come calling with massive contracts.
Oh yeah. How old are you, Trey?
I am 24.
He's your age.
Yeah.
Jake is your age. Like he's still so young. I don't know what the hesitancy is here. He needs to just keep evolving slowly. and fight a real boxer.
It's
I agree.
it's to the point where if but what I was getting to with those stages, if he fights another old retired UFC guy,
Yep.
it's just like you're doing it's the clown show over and over again.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it was funny the first time, but you really just going to keep doing it.
Yep.
So those were. You have any more thoughts?
Nope.
Or we can move on. All right, we're moving on to shake and take. This is a mixed bag: college football, NFL, anything. I'll go ahead and ask mine first.
Good.
This is more of a fact. I just want to hear you say it. Did Ohio State cover the spread on Saturday?
No.
Yeah, thank you. More surprising season: Daniel Jones or Josh Jacobs?
Josh Jacobs.
Who did better on a trade? Oh, sorry. Who did better at the trade deadline? Steelers or the Ravens?
Steelers.
Okay. Tennessee, Georgia score prediction.
I'm gonna say Tennessee 42, Georgia 30.
Who would you rather live in New York or Los Angeles?
New York.
Would you rather live in Philadelphia or a junkyard?
A junkyard.
Thank you. More disappointing 2022. Broncos, Buccaneers.
Buccaneers.
Pack, punt, or pass Super Bowl chances. Miami, Minnesota, Baltimore.
I will pack Baltimore. I will punt Miami. I will pass on who was the other one? Minnesota.
College football is better when what program is relevant?
USC.
If Deion Sanders left Jackson State, which job would you rather see him take? Auburn, Georgia Tech, Florida State.
I have to say Florida State.
I'm fine with that. Pack, punt, or pass, a team that could sneak into the college football playoff. Which one would you? I'm not going to ask you that because I know what your answer would be. Odds to sneak in. USC, TCU, Illinois.
TCU. I'll do. Out of just those three, who has the best chance?
Yeah. Now think about it. Illinois, if they run the table, not saying they will, the chances are probably very slim. They beat Michigan. That means they would beat Michigan in the week 12, and then beat Ohio State in the Big Ten championship. That's a resume. I'm not saying they will do that, but resume wise, they probably have the best chance to make that leap. But just who you think has a chance to sneak in? USC, TCU.
TCU has the best chance to sneak in. I'd probably give them a 66% chance out of these three teams that we're talking about. USC, I give a 0% chance to, and I'd give the other 34% to Illinois.
Okay.
I don't think USC can get in anymore. They're done.
Last question. Cowboys, Packers meet in week 10 in Lambeau. Score prediction.
Dallas 31.
Don't do
Green
it.
Bay 20.
Wow. No, I don't think that's going to happen, but fair enough. Go ahead with your questions.
Okay. Does Tennessee's win over Kentucky change your opinion on their national title chances?
Change my slightly, not as much. I like that they didn't sleep through it, but it all comes down to this one. The winner of this one, I think, gets into the playoff.
Okay.
Because I think Tennessee can run the table and still lose to Alabama as long as it's not a terrible loss and get in.
Yep.
So,
how concerned percent-wise, 1 to 100, are you with Kenny Pickett's start to the season?
1 to 100. 20%.
Okay. Eagles record prediction for the end of the season.
(14-3).
Steelers record prediction for the end of the season.
8-9.
Wow. Cowboys record prediction
Jesus.
for the end of the season. You know, I had to throw them in there.
12-5.
Okay. Ohio State versus Tennessee at a mutual site. If they played tomorrow, who do you have? And what's the score?
I think it's a freaking shootout. I'd say Ohio State 42, Tennessee 40.
Wow. Percent chance you give the Patriots to make the playoffs?
6%. I don't think that schedule's too tough down the stretch.
Okay. What percent chance do you give the Vikings to steal the number 1 seed from the Philadelphia Eagles?
25%.
Okay. Packers record prediction.
9-8. I think they turn it around enough to get to just over 500.
Okay. Bigger issue on the Raiders, Josh McDaniels or Derek Carr?
Derek Carr.
Geno Smith's MVP ranking currently to you?
Outside the top 8, but just the fact that he's even out there is impressive.
Okay. USC, if they played Alabama at a mutual site, what is the score of that game?
Alabama 41, USC 28.
Oh, it's a pretty convincing win there.
Yeah.
Is Georgia still your favorite to win the national championship?
No. Ohio State.
Oh my God, don't do this to me. I know what you're doing. You're jinxing. Stop it. And my last question, Auburn just fired their coach. If you had to pick one of the two that you listed earlier in our recap episode a couple days ago, would you take Lane Kiffin or Deion Sanders?
Deion Sanders. The best plan of action. Deion Sanders comes in. He recruits. He gets all these nice changes to Auburn. People want to come play for him. All these D1 guys that didn't want to go play FCS football come play at Auburn under him. He coaches, let's say, 6 years, 6, 7, 8 maybe years, and he doesn't want to coach anymore after that. But he has a disciple. He has somebody who's a young mind in this program who he eventually going to take over. He leaves, but he leaves all that culture there for Auburn. Ideal.
And follow-up question to that, if he comes, let's say next year, and he's the head coach starting the first game next year, and he brings his son, the quarterback of Jackson State.
Yeah, I think he's a senior, though.
Is he?
I'm pretty sure.
I was going to say, if he's a junior, does he start? Does he plug him and play him just right away? Or
it'll be interesting for sure. Because I mean, I don't know what the Auburn depth chart is going to look like. Yeah. Everyone could transfer now that they don't know who the head coach is going to be.
It's a good point.
So,
alrighty.
All right, let's move on to our last segment of the day. This is going to be new. It's going to be, just challenging. Not challenging, but different because it's a different segment. We're calling it the PBP Big Board. We're each going to give you 7 players at a position where we will, through the draft process, we will work out how we rank these 7 players. Douglas is going to have a 7. I'm going to have my 7. We're each going to give them a grade, 1 through 10. And then we'll do a composite ranking. And we're just going to build these composite rankings leading up to the draft, through the combine, through the pro days, get as much information as we can. And then hopefully come draft day, we'll have a pretty good idea of where these guys are going.
Yep.
So, all right, Douglas, you want to kick it off? We are doing running backs today. We were going to start with quarterbacks. Obviously, that makes the most sense. But I thought about it, Douglas. Would you agree that I think quarterback's the position where it's most important to let them have more evaluation time?
Correct.
Running backs, you already know, like, through this point of the season, we know what we have in running backs.
Yep.
Running backs' vision doesn't flip like this.
I agree.
A quarterback everything could clip for a quarterback, week 12 or something, and he just takes off from there. Running backs, I think through 8 games, you know what you have in them.
Yep.
So go ahead with your number 1 running back in the class.
My number 1 running back in this class is going to be Izzy Abanikanda.
Ooh.
Yeah. I gotta go Izzy. I have to go Izzy, dude. He has looked so tremendous for Pitt. He's about the only good thing that team's got at this point now. Leading the ACC in rushing, which isn't necessarily the easiest thing to do when you have Clemson there with you, because they run the ball very well. But I think that he looks like the real deal. Like if LaShawn McCoy flashed back and went to college, you're looking at him. Like that's what this is.
I don't currently have him in my top 7.
Okay.
So that'll be interesting. My number one's Bijan Robinson. This guy he's a freak.
Uh-huh.
This isn't even a guy where you look at him and say, okay, he has rushing skill, vision. Like he does, but you don't even care about that. This is like, and this is might be sacrilegious to say, his body type, how strong he is, and how fast he is. This is Adrian Peterson 2.0. He's 6 foot 225. He's going to run under probably I'd say sub 4.45 40 come combine time. This is a guy where you get him in the NFL, you get him some better coaching than he had in college. This is a guy who is a franchise running back. There's not many left. There's not many guys where there's not many Derrick Henrys or Christian McCaffreys where you just hitch your wagon to this guy and put pieces around him. This might be one of the last ones. So I'm taking Bijan. I'm giving him a 9.1.
Wow.
As a prospect rating right now.
Yeah, my highest rating on a running back at Izzy, I just have him at an 8.8. So that's my highest.
My number 2 is an 8.8. So
yeah, he's my highest at 8.8. My second one here, I have Chase Brown of Illinois. Look what he's doing behind a good offensive line when he gets the ball and he can get between the tackles and has space to move. If you're a team picking a little bit later and you don't want to waste a crazy, absurd pick on a running back, this is probably where you're going to want to go. He hits the hole hard, he hits it efficiently, and he picks up about 6 yards a carry. So this is the guy you're going to want to go with in Chase Brown.
My next one, this might be a little homerish just yet, but we kind of just started the process, so I'm fine with it. I'm taking Tank Bigsby out of Auburn. He's a junior, 6 foot 213. The guy, I've just seen him play over the past 3 years. Could not be more impressed with the guy. He's run for the past few years behind terrible offensive lines, and he's still a top 3 back in the SEC. It's incredible what he does. My only concern with him as a prospect, I think he can do everything. I think he can run between the tackles, run outside the tackles. He has great bursts to the edge. He's a pass catcher. He can even pass protect, which you don't see a lot of times at college running backs, is durability.
Yeah,
he's been very true. He started since he was a true freshman. He's been hit so many times. Only question is that, which I will put at the end of my worry list for him. So give me Tank Bigsby from Auburn. I'm giving him an 8.8.
Okay. I gave Chase Brown an 8.2 on my last one. My next one, I'm taking Deuce Vaughn from Kansas State. I was very hesitant to put him here until I just saw what he did this past week. Oklahoma State's pass defense is horrendous. The run defense is not. The run defense is actually very good. He had 22 carries for 158 yards, I think, and a touchdown on the ground. He's very explosive. He had a 61-yard run. He can just get gone on him quickly. I have him rated at a 7.5 right now.
Okay. My next one is Mo Ibrahim out of Minnesota. 5'10", 210 pounds. This guy is another guy like Bigsby. He's just a complete back. He's gonna. I'm not so sure about his pass catching 100% just yet, but this dude is explosive as they come. He will hit the hole. He will drive. He almost reminds me of a Pollard when he hits open field because it's just one cut and see ya. He is difficult to bring down in space. I don't remember too many DBs I've seen tackle this guy as he's played over the past 3 years at Minnesota. So and mostly because he can run over him, but also he can run by him. So Mo Ibrahim, he gets an 8.6 for me.
Yeah, Muhammad Ibrahim for me is next. He is my fourth. I had him at a 7.1 though. Injury concern is something that I'm very wary of. That's about the only thing I'm wary of with him. Like you said, he's very hard to tackle in space. If he hits space, he makes you pay for it. If he has a good offensive line, I think, and his health is intact, there's no doubt in my mind he can become a top 5 to 8 running back in the NFL immediately. Those are my only concerns: is who's he running behind and how is his health? That's the only questions I have. That's what's keeping his score so low. as he continues to build up that durability again with his leg and stay healthy longer. That grade, I'm sure, will climb, but that's where I have him for now.
My next guy is probably one of the last true, I'd say, power backs. He has decent speed, but I think in the NFL he'll have a more difficult time getting away from defenders. Give me Zach Charbonnet out of UCLA. He's a senior, 6'1", 220, excellent between the tackles. Struggles in pass protection, and probably going to be tough for him to be a more than one cut back in the NFL. He is going to have to be downhill. I think he can do some good things once he hits open field, though. He's probably, I'd say, out of the four I've had so far, I'd say he's probably the toughest for a secondary player to tackle in open field. He is so good in open field, making people miss. Has a little bit of Derrick Henry with a good stiff arm, a little bit of a shake, but really just sheds tackles, man. Doesn't really run through, but just tough to tackle, tough to get around him and be able to bring him down. He's so strong. Give me Zach Charbonnet. I have him an 8.1.
Wow, that's pretty very good grade. Look at you starting these grades high. I like it.
I am higher probably on this running back class than a lot of people are. So
yeah, I was gonna say you're being what's the word I'm looking for here? Very friendly, I suppose. Yeah. So my next pick here, I'm taking Raheem Sanders out of Arkansas. He's only a sophomore, so I don't know if he's going to enter. If he does, he will be drafted. I'm just unsure if he's going to declare or not. He will be drafted if he does. I think that he's in the top 3 as far as rushing yards in all of FBS right now. I could be wrong on that. I'm trying to stat check, but I'm struggling to get my computer to load over here. But I like him a lot. He's very explosive. He's very good at pass catching, which you nowadays in the NFL, you kind of need a back that can pass catch. If not, you're going to be running into a problem that a lot of teams have. Miami just had it, and they got rid of Edmonds. Edmonds was the pass catcher. Mostert was the running back. Dallas has something of the sorts. Zeke's the runner. Pollard the pass catcher. If you want a guy that can kind of do everything, Raheem Sanders is the guy to do it. He is very skillful. I have him at a 7 flat right now. If he declares for the draft, he will be drafted and probably slept on and be a late value pick for somebody. But I could also see him staying to play out his junior tenure at Arkansas or transferring.
My next guy is probably somebody that not many people have heard of, especially if they're just watching big time college football. Dwayne McBride. He's a junior out of UAB. He's second in the country in rushing right now. He made, if you have never heard of Bruce Feldman, he makes a freaks list every year, just like freak college athletes. Listen to this, Douglas. He leads the nation in yards after contact at 4.72. He hang cleans 345 pounds, bench presses 400 pounds, squatted 600, and in addition ran a 40 in the low 4.5s.
Oh my God.
This guy is an absolute freak. He's not too big. I believe he is 5'10", 215, short, stocky, but strong as all hell. He's explosive through the hole. He's not really going to run away from probably too many NFL DBs, but goodness gracious, he reminds me of Kenneth Murray.
Oh yeah, I'm
Kenneth Walker. Sorry,
Kenneth Walker. Okay,
He reminds me of where it's not like he's you watch him run behind the line of scrimmage, you're like, oh, this guy's not. But when he hits the hole and he decides to turn it on, just that explosiveness he at least gets 10 yards. It almost seems like every carry he has is almost 10 yards. Love Dwayne McBride. I'm taking we'll say 7.8 on him.
Okay. With my next one, I'll be taking. I hate it. I'll be taking Blake Corum from Michigan.
There we go. I like
junior,
that
pick. Through 8 games this year, he's carried the ball 179 times. Meanwhile, keep in mind, he's kind of splitting with another guy there.
Yeah.
He's got almost 1,100 yards and 14 touchdowns. He also has quite a few catches. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. He's got 1,100 scrimmage yards, 15 total touchdowns. He's averaging 6 yards a carry. Very explosive. He can run between the tackles. He can go right around you. He's 5'8", 200 pounds. I'm sure his 40 will be somewhere along the 4.5 area. I don't know how much faster it would be than that, but that's a solid speed nonetheless. for a guy that's 5'8" and kind of built like that. It's a little Jaylen Warren build with a little thunder and lightning ability to him. So I will be going there, and he has a grade of 6.7.
Another one I think is underrated in this class. Give me Sean Tucker out of Syracuse. Guy is just a straight playmaker for the Syracuse team. He's only a redshirt sophomore, so another one, like you said, I don't know if he'll be out, but I love his production at Syracuse. Can do it all. Every down back, runs between the tackles with good size. 5'11", 205. He's able to catch the ball good enough. I don't know if he's going to be a true strength for him in the NFL, but good enough definitely at the college level. I'm taking a 7.5 on Sean Tucker.
And my last guy here at running back, he transferred this past year to USC from Oregon. I will be taking Travis Dye. Not the sexiest pick. I get it because he's got that ugly ass mustache and whatever. Last year at Oregon, he played 14 games. He had almost 1,300 yards on the ground, 16 touchdowns. I mean, he's very well. And he also had 46 catches last year for 402 yards and 2 touchdowns. So he's a proven pass catcher. This year at USC, he's got 121 carries for almost 800 yards, 8 touchdowns. So he's on pace to be about the same as he was last year. He's got 18 catches, 176 yards, and no receiving touchdowns yet, but he's averaging 10 yards a catch, 6 yards a carry. I think the guy's great. He's 5'10", 200 pounds. He's not the fastest guy. He's not the biggest guy. He's not the strongest guy, but he's kind of a nice mix of everything you want. He's not super slow. He's got good speed. He's got good burst. He's got good agility. I like Travis Dye. My grade for him is a 6.2.
I am wrapping this thing up. I'm taking Deuce Vaughn, a guy you already touched on. This is Tariq Cohen 2.0.
Yep.
I think he'll have a little bit better in between the tackles. He needs to put on some weight. He's listed at 176 pounds. I think he needs to probably get up around, 185, 190 in the NFL. I hope it doesn't slow him down too much because 5'6", 175, that ain't getting it done pass blocking. He's got to get his weight up a little bit to be able to pass block, but all the things you love, the burst, the catching ability. I think he'll never be a number one, but he can just be that piece to your team like Cohen was for the Bears for a little bit, where he just gives you that X factor. He can probably do multiple things, line him up a receiver. All right. That was it for episode 19 of the Pack Boys podcast. Thank you guys so much for watching. Douglas, anything for the people?
Yeah, if you guys could like, share, and subscribe and follow our socials at Pack Boys Podcast, that would be great, guys. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Have a good one, guys.